This is devotional number 314, and today's date is August 24th, 2017. We've been looking at the phrase fell on his face this week, and today we want to consider the account in 1 Kings 18, 5 through 7, regarding the man Obadiah, who was the governor of Ahab's house. And Ahab said unto Obadiah, Go into the land, unto all fountains of water, and unto all brooks. Peradventure we may find grass to save the horses and mules alive, that we lose not all the beasts. So they divided the land between them to pass throughout it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself. And as Obadiah was in the way, behold, Elijah met him, and he knew him, and fell on his face, and said, Art thou that my Lord Elijah? In the historical context of 1 Kings 18, one learns that there was a devastating famine in the land. King Ahab instructs Obadiah, the governor, that together they would divide up the land in order to find suitable pasture for the horses and mules to save some of them. In doing so, they took separate ways. By the way, the name Obadiah means servant of Jehovah. What are some of the spiritual aspects that we might be able to glean from this account? We read in 1 Kings 16:30, And Ahab the son of Omri did evil in the sight of Jehovah above all that were before him. By contrast, we read in 1 Kings 18:3, And Ahab called Obadiah, which was the governor of his house. Now Obadiah feared Jehovah greatly. They also took two separate paths, illustrating the spiritual reality that each way represents, as we find, for example, in Matthew 7:13-14. Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Also, we learn from Proverbs 14:12, There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Wonderfully, Psalm 119:14 speaks about another way. I have rejoiced in the way of thy testimonies as much as in all riches. His testimonies refer, of course, to his blessed word, the Bible, which points altogether to the work and faith of the Lord Jesus Christ, who proclaimed in John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. The grass located near the fountains of waters and brooks for the horses and mules, for which Ahab and Elijah were looking, represent the pasture that John 10:9 speaks of. I am the door. By me if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. And Psalm 78:20 also asserts, Behold, he smote the rock, that the waters gushed out, and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread also? Can he provide flesh for his people? And, here we have to keep in mind that the rock represents the Lord Jesus Christ, and the fact that in another account it was smitten twice. He hit the rock twice, which spiritually has to do with the fact that Christ was slain at the foundation of the world, when he atoned for the sins of his people, and then slain again, although he was not bearing sin in 33 AD, when he was demonstrating what had taken place at the foundation of the world. Isaiah 35:6 also proclaims, "Then shall the lame man leap as an hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert." In Psalm 32:9, both the horse and mule typify those to whom the gospel was sent to during the day of salvation. "Be ye not as the horse or as the mule, which have no understanding, whose mouth must be held in with bit and bridle, lest they come near unto thee." I'll read 1 Kings 18:7 again. "And as Obadiah was in the way, behold, Elijah met him, and he knew him and fell on his face and said, Art thou my Lord Elijah?" And remember, Elijah's name means God is Jehovah, and Obadiah's name means servant of Jehovah. And Elijah in this picture is a representation of God himself as he meets Obadiah in the way. Remember, we also learned that Obadiah feared Jehovah greatly. Reverential fear of God is characteristic not only of the Lord Jesus Christ, but of each true believer, as Philippians 2:12 admonishes. "Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling." Obadiah immediately recognizes Elijah, but the phrase "he knew him" denotes an intimate personal relationship. It is the language of salvation, as was expressed by the two men on the road to Emmaus, when they experienced the inexplicable joy and wonder of the risen Christ, as Luke 24:31 relates. "And their eyes were opened, and they knew him, and he vanished out of their sight." Notice that Obadiah fell on his face. As we are first confronted by our sin and the subsequent punishment of death and annihilation that we all deserve, and yet in spite of that, when we contemplate the fact that the Lord Jesus Christ secured at his own expense for each of the elect this wonderful, glorious salvation at the foundation of the world, can any of us not fall on our faces in worship and adoration?